Hey everybody, welcome back inside the stash. This is our next part of the Honda S600 build series. As we promised, we're going to do a review of the kit out of the box, so let's just go ahead and jump right on in. Alright guys, so first up we have the instruction manual. This is the traditional Tamiya trifold. You'll see what I mean when I unfold it here, but some more robust, shall we say, Tamiya kits have instruction manuals that are actually stapled down the side and open like books. Your majority of your Tamiya kits, however, if you're not familiar, have a trifold instruction manual where it folds out into basically 4 pieces. It's actually 3 folds to get it out, though. And then there's a front and a back side. So this is your basic Tamiya instructions. Give you a picture of the kit built. You'll have your paint requirements as far as Tamiya colors go. Usually we'll list a couple of primary spray paints depending on what the box art suggests you paint it. Your straight up options in this kit as far as painting it and having everything called out for you in the instructions are to paint either red or white. The Honda S600 originally came in those 2 colors, and then later on, let me see if I can find the information here, they added 2 blues and another color of red, and then a blue metallic and sky metallic for the sports car version of this. It was called the 600M. Now, this kit does not have the parts to represent a 600M in it, only just a base S600, which has a 595cc engine, which was about 57 horsepower. But this is an itty-bitty little car, so it really isn't necessarily as slow as that would sound. But like I said, your basic callouts there, and really it's a basic series of colors. I think the only thing I really see there that would probably be maybe a little out of the ordinary of most people's collections might be either the brown, just because a lot of people don't seem to have brown for some reason. A lot of people have a tan, but not a dark brown, which you need for this. Also the X21 down here, which is a flat base. Basically, you're just taking a gloss color, mixing it with a flat base to sort of make a semi-gloss out of it. In this case, that'll be done for the interior if you choose to build the white car, because the interior will be red in that car. So it gives you, suggested tools, blah, 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 blah. This kit, as you can see here, is a full detail kit. We start out with the engine. We trifold out into the building the frame and putting the engine in, building the rear suspension, putting in the exhaust, putting in the front suspension, radiator, battery, wheels go on, interior, more interior, dashboard. Then we go to doing the actual body, because the dashboard inserts into the body from the below, as well as the hood being a fold forward hood, so you have to install a retainer clip for the hood so that you sort of do all the body work in one step there. To get that done, we come back up all the way up here at the top, and there is a separate inner fender well area that you insert into the bottom of the body. Mount the interior in, put the spare tire carrier on, put the frame in, and then after that we're just on final assembly. One thing you'll notice about this, much like several convertible Revell kits like the 55 Chevy, I think the 59 Cadillac is like this as well, the windshield frame is a separate piece that is a clear piece. You're going to have to foil that, as well as paint sort of a gasket around the bottom, so that should be fun. And from there, headlights, taillights, and then the back here gives you your options. You have a drop top, put the back bumper on, and there's also a hard top as well as a soft top. So there's 3 different tops altogether in terms of what you want to do here, I think. I'm pretty sure there's or maybe they consider this to be a hard top on the clear tree. It looks very much like a soft top to me. It doesn't require the back window, so I believe that there is a soft top and a hard top option here. So however you want to do it in that thing. And in the back here you have some final paint instructions as far as, just there's a very few handful of decals here. Most of them are gauges. The scripting is done with metal transfers, so that gives you an idea of what to expect there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the parts. All right, so starting with the clear runner, I'm going to leave this in the plastic bag for now, just because I don't want to go ahead and get this all scratched up to start with. You have basically three major components here. One is the window for the hard top. The other is the soft top. Like I said, the soft top is part of the clear tree, so you would have to mask off the windows in order to paint this. There are no window masks in this kit, so you will be freehanding that if you choose to use the up top. And there are some pretty pronounced, even through the clear, you can see some pretty pronounced ejector pins on the inside of the clear piece. This down here will be your windshield. As you see, the chrome trim and the rubber gasket that would be down here at the bottom where the windshield will mount to the body is all molded in. And then up here you have some lights. These are your headlights, your turn signals, and then you have some marker lights. Actually, I believe these are the may not be used because there are two sets of reverse lights on this. These are the brake lights. One set is actually, I believe, the front turn signal, and then the other set are the reverse lights in the back. The reverse lights on this kit, being that it is a early 1960s, were an option, so this is sort of a top-of-the-line S800, as it were. And you can see here giving the call-outs for all of the different parts kits that use this single runner, which basically would be the S800, the S800 Race, and now this new quote-unquote S600. We explained, like I said in the original video, that this is basically just a minor retool of an existing kit from the 1980s that was done in 2015. Moving on from there, we have the chrome runner, which I will take out of the bag because it'll just be too darn shiny to show you guys without taking it out. But here's your chrome runner. It's still pretty darn shiny. It is definitely a kit chrome in the terms of that we Americans are used to. Most times you get a chrome runner like this, and with this kind of plating in a U.S. kit. Most Japanese plating tends to be a matte silver because they don't tend to replicate very many classic cars like this. So in this parts runner, and this is sort of one of these weird things where it's sort of upside down and backwards at the same time in order to show you everything. These will be your hubcaps for your wheels, your rear and front bumpers. This will be your parking brake. These are your door handles, and these, let me get them up there a little bit. These right here are your door handles, and this right here would be your trunk latches. There are basically hinges that go on the back deck to represent the hinges for the trunk. These would be your rearview mirror, your gas cap. I believe this is the interior piece, and I can't think of what it is exactly right now. These are your headlight buckets, your windshield wipers. This little doohickey here looks like an antenna is actually the stand for the rearview mirror. This car used, it's seen in a number of small convertibles, really, where the rearview mirror is sort of stuck on a pedestal that mounts onto the dashboard rather than actually mounting to the inside of the rear glass like a traditional car. These would be your turn signal backs, and then this right here is the back of the grille. Flipping it over on the reverse side, so to speak, this is the grille, the business end that you would see sticking out. These are your mounting areas for your turn signals, and then these right here, these smaller buckets, which don't want to focus. There we go. These smaller ones here are the backers for your brake lights and your reverse lights in the rear end area, if you will. Next parts tree is a very, very small one, and it is molded in a, well, I guess technically it's molded in silver. It's not really molded in a metallic, it's just silver. And that would be your engine tree, your parts runner for your engine. Very small engine. It's again 590cc, almost a motorcycle engine set on its side, basically. The top half of your transaxle. The bottom, or well, technically this would be the bottom end in the sense that it will sit like this in real life, but as it stands, this is part of your drive shaft here. So your transaxle is there, your fan up here, oil pan, head, exhaust, your oil fill, disc brakes for the, it should maybe just be wheel backs at this point, but you have drum brakes on one set of brakes, on one set of axles here. Your engine cover also in this would be your pedal set. I'm not really sure what we're doing with this. I'd have to go look. And then your engine block halves themselves. Put it back down so it'll focus. There we go. So again, it's a tiny little engine that could, as it were. Most of this is going to be either flat aluminum or chrome silver. It's one of those things that it won't show up real great on video, but in real life you'll be able to differentiate between the two. And this down here actually is your shifter. So itty bitty little thing there. And from there, there's really only two more parts runners. Two sort of sizable ones, if they were. Let's see here if I can make this a little bit more. There we go. In the whole thing. It's not going to work out that well just because I don't have this on a high enough pedestal. But here is your hard top itself, and this is your soft top for the convertible. You have your rear links for your rear suspension. This was a train, almost a chain drive type of rear end, because again, motorcycle. This is your cylinder head and your valve cover, your steering wheel, your spare tire carrier, two seats, obviously, your intake, the exhaust system, which we'll do this to get into the frame, your wheels, which are, like I said, are a 5-spoke. They are just plain and flat with the hubcap that goes into them, so there are no lug nuts in this. You can't run out steel wheels without the hubcaps, so it'll look kind of silly. Your license plate backs. Here are your drum brakes for the rear. So like I said, these are actually just wheel backs. Your front wheel struts, your rear end, your differential. This will be the top of your radiator and the hood. This hood is actually a new hood that was created specifically for this kit because the S800 has a power bulge, if you will, on this side. This tree is actually brand new. All of this is brand new tooling, but it is completely and totally patterned off of the older S800 because these wheels and this hood are the only two new parts on here. But obviously they didn't trash the S800 tooling to make this, because that would have required buzzing the power bulge flat and then changing these from a 4-lug to a 5-lug wheel, which wouldn't work. So this is actually a brand new piece of tooling, but it is, like I said, identical other than the wheels and the hood to the previous kit. One thing we'll say is that there is an open back to the differential, right? So if you're a person that this matters, you will have to take care of that. The hood has several ejector pins, which may or may not show. Actually, if I do that, since in the shade, it will. On the underside here, there's a little bit of a texture, but not much. Some bracing, which is more important. But it should be fairly easy to get those off there without doing too much damage. You have ejector pins, 2 of them, which may or may not show up real well because of the angle and it just being really white. There's 4 in here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, so that'll have to be taken care of. There are ejector pins on this, but who cares? It'll be upside down. And pretty much everything else is par for the course, as it were. There are no backs to the seats. They are just open in the back. So, you take that into consideration. This is a very tight roadster configuration where the seat backs are going to be pretty tight up to the body of the car. So there's a pretty good chance you won't notice they're not there. And so why Tamiya didn't tool up actual backs to the seats. Let me see what else we got on here. The steering wheel has pretty decent detail. Again, white's always a hard color to make show up on camera. Just one of those deals. Also in the one bag that this came out of is your little foil pack of polycaps. Obviously, you got 4 of those because you have 4 wheels. Pretty basic and simple there. And like I said, you have one more big parts runner. Not a lot of parts in this kit, as it turns out. Just from in the inspection of the instructions, you think it's a lot more. Tamiya kits are usually good for that. You look at the instructions, like, man, there's a lot of parts, and you get to them, and there's a couple of big parts runners, and that's it. On this one would be basically your interior and stuff like that. So this is the bottom. This would be the business side you would see if the car was upside down. The bottom of the interior pan, right? Got some texture here. I'm guessing this is more prototypically correct. I've never seen the bottom side of a S600 or an S800 to comment whether or not that's correct. This is sort of a rear bulkhead area that will go on the inside of the interior. I'll show you where in a second. This is your drive shaft, your battery, your front suspension, part of the rear frame for the to attach those chain driver end. Here's the underside of your or they should say the business side of the fender, front fender wells. There we go. That's the words I'm trying to use. This goes into the underside of the body, which is what my mind was trying to say. But like I said, this will be your front suspension cover. Basically, this will be your engine sits in here. This itty bitty little thing right here is your frame, which shows you exactly how small this car is. It's literally the size of the palm of my hand. Obviously, it'll be longer because you're going to put these sort of torsion extensions on the back, but this is the base of your frame right here. Here we have another radiator top, which may mean that you don't use one or the other of these. This will be your actual radiator. It's in two pieces. You have some shocks for the, I believe, rear suspension. Here are your door cards for your interior. Pretty Spartan, but I think at least they have everything you need. You have a window crank, and then it looks like a second window crank, but this is one of those style door handles, sort of like a fancy house where you twist it, where you flush a toilet kind of thing, in order to open the door. Down here is your steering arm, and this right here will be your retainer for your hood. It's not important. It's not in focus. This is your dashboard, the top of the dash, and the actual dash face itself. I can't really turn this right side up because then it's on the top up here and won't be on the camera, but this is a right-hand drive only kit. There were no S600s exported to the United States. There were S800s, but again, this car was not exported, so there's no what am I trying to say? There are no provisions. There we go. There's the word. No provisions made for a left-hand drive car. There's no left-hand drive in the S800 either, because remember, this legitimately is a carbon copy of the S800's runner. There's nothing new on this at all. And this right here will be the interior side of the I guess we call basically an interior plate at this point, because it's not really a chassis plate. You see you have a spot here for your shifter, and then some indentations here for your seat. This is going to be the driver's side. This will be the passenger side in this case. There are some ejector pin marks. Probably really won't show up real well, but there we go. One here, here, and here. They're on both sides of the tranny well. And then there are some back here as well on this. But remember, this piece here, this bulkhead is going to go basically right here. And it's going to cover and the whole rest of the back of this is going to be underneath the car. So you'll never see it. So this is one of these cases where there's 8 or 9 ejector pins back here. We're not even going to worry about this because you'll never see it again. And we don't fix things that you'll never see again. So pretty much we'll take care of these 6 that are on the sides of the fender well. These ones that are, because you also see there's tiny ones. There's one right there, and I think there's also one. There's one on the other side, but I guess there's not actually. I thought there was some up here, but like these are going to be underneath the seats, so we're not going to worry about those either. Not to mention it'll be basically impossible to really get those out of there because they're so folded into textured areas that you would end up just you could get a Dremel and take it in there and very lightly buzz it off, but then you'd have a cleaned off area from the Dremel. So I'm not really going to worry about it. Like I said, the seats will go here, so it's not going to be something you're going to see. And then from that point, let me go ahead and put this away so it stops sliding its way back on camera. It's like, no, you're not done talking about me. Actually, we are. There's a bag full of tires here. These are little lifesaver tires, basically, little tiny tires. Good tread pattern, I guess. They're prototypically correct 1960s Japanese small car tires, I guess. I don't know. There are no sidewall details to these. I forgot to pull the S800 out to see if the old ones did or not, but just 4 tires, yeehaw, nothing to write home about there. And then we have the little packet here that has your decal sheet and your metal transfers in it. So if I can get this open without destroying everything. If you never had a Tamiya kit before, they staple their bags shut. And they're the itty-bittiest little staples ever, but these are also very itty-bitty little sheets of decals, so I don't want to ruin anything here. So there we go. I got it out now. So this right here is going to be your metal transfer sheet. There's only 3 metal transfers on it, and it is the 2 Honda logos and then the Honda S600 logo that goes on the trunk. So these are metal transfers. They are stickers. Basically, you cut out the shape, you apply it to the body, and then you take off the clear protective film that is on the top of it. It's basically a press and stick metal sticker, if you will. Just like I said, you'll cut out each individual piece, of which, like I said, there's 3. A lot of these kits that they do have much more transfers than this, but you'll cut out each individual piece, peel it off the backing paper, leaving the clear part on the front so that you can handle it. Put it, place it down on the surface, burnish it down. They always suggest the back end of a pencil eraser, but a Q-tip will work too. And then once you're convinced that it's stuck to the surface, you peel the clear piece off the top, and shazam, you have your metal transfer. And then this right here will be your decal sheet, your decal sheet. Not a lot going on here. Basically, the 7, 8, 9, and 10 are the gauge decals for the dashboard. And then you have some older Honda-style logos. You have a red one and a white one there, depending on what color you paint the body. Basically, it was, sort of a cop-out, if you will, from Tamiya itself to blend the front, because these go on the hood, to blend the front sticker in with the color rather than just giving you, I don't know, a silver Honda sticker that would go over whatever color you paint it. That does kind of stick you, though, on that, where you have to paint it white or red, or else you don't have a Honda logo for the hood per se. I believe this 2 here is an interior sticker, and then there are a couple of stickers for the engine compartment right there. So very, very, very basic decal setup there, nothing fancy. Old car, not a lot of fancy going on there. The last thing we're going to look at, of course, will be the body of the car. And we'll see exactly how itty-bitty tiny this is. Here you go. It is a palm-sized model. I don't want to bang into the camera and knock it over, but there you go. This is basically the exact same body that is in the S600 or the S800 kit. Let me get the background out here. Get a little bit too much. There we go. This body, like I said, is identical to the S800's body. There's nothing new about this. The new parts, to go over it real quick in case you're fast-forwarding around, are the hood itself, and then the grille that goes in here, and then your rear end area back here. Now, this body is still the same, even though it has a different taillight configuration. The S800 has a sort of a unified rear taillight rather than individual. So, I mean, the backlight area here is still the same. This could sort of be half in your frame and half in mine because I need to look at it. I rather take a look at this body. You see the 19 years. Well, you can't see, but there's a 1997 copyright there for the S800 tooling. The panel lines definitely do look nice and deep on here. I don't necessarily believe maybe the front half here could use a little bit of rescribing, but that's pretty much it. There are panel lines down here on the bottom, right here and right here. Need to take a quick glance at reference photos to make sure that those panel lines actually do go away and they're not part of a rear valance area here. Beyond that, they run the chrome runner. They do come across the back end. Oops, too far up in the air. I need to do it this way so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. There is a panel line that ends up coming right across the very top of the trunk area here. That obviously needs to be taken care of because the trunk doesn't have a lip right there. And then, like I said, the panel lines pretty much run the chrome strip across the front here, and then they come down through the headlights, and they are right here on this corner and right here on this corner as well. Body gets painted a universal color depending on whatever you want to do. Like I said, red, white were the first two options, and then there was a lighter shade of red, a couple of different blues, and a silver. So whatever you do want to do this, or you can make it completely whatever you want to do on your own. It's your model. This ridge that runs the top of the fender lines from front to back is chrome. There's a chrome trim piece front to back. More than likely, I think I'm going to bare metal foil that rather than Molotol it, because it'd just be easier to me, my personal opinion. It would be easier to take care of this, with bare metal foil than it would be to mask it off and use the markers for that. One thing I would take in consideration, I'll have to look at some reference photos, is the way that this door panel sort of just ends into the chrome trim. It doesn't really go through it. That would make it a little hard for this door to open if it was fixed in place with a piece of chrome trim there. So this molding line right here might have to go through that trim. It's obviously through on this part, but not over here. Or it may be a case where the trim itself is really representing the bottom of the window, window frame itself. This kit, unusual for a Tamiya kit, or really a foreign kit, has no side windows at all. A lot of Tamiya convertible kits even will come with a side window option if you want to run the hardtop without the, with the windows being up. This kit obviously does not. So, like I said, definitely have to look at look at some research photos to see whether or not that needs to come through, or if this whole piece, or it needs to sort of get chopped on the top. Somewhere in here, this needs to break because otherwise the door is sort of attached to the front there. But other than that, it's nice little kit. Here's the underside of it. Nothing really to write home about here. Um, there's just a few indentations for where the hood goes in up here. This indentation's here for where the lost my train of thought, where the dashboard mounts in, and then this piece right here will be sort of not the actual contact point, because you have to glue it into the fenders, but this gives you a lineup point to put those inner fender wells in, so that they're not too far side to side. That'll center them up and make sure that they're mounted square. Obviously, this piece is done as you cut out, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's what we're going to be doing with this. Like we said, if you didn't watch our introductory video, this is going to be white with a red interior. And yeah, that's about it. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on the next video. We'll start working on the engine and stuff, and we'll see you guys on the other side.